Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more waterfowl patterning. And we're still out here on this cold and snowy day. It's still in the teens for temperature, which might be accurate in some waterfowl scenarios, I suppose. Really cold temperatures, maybe a little bit of snow out there. So it might be a little bit more realistic of a test today as far as conditions go. But either way, even though it is cold, we're still out here and we're still going to get results for you guys. And we've got a combination that somehow kind of slipped through the cracks a little bit. Don't know how we didn't do it yet, but we haven't done it on the channel. So I'm definitely curious to see how it does. So as for the shell I've got today, I brought out some of the Winchester Xpert Waterfowl loads. These are a 12 gauge, 3-inch, 1.25 ounce of steel number 2s, moving about 1,400 feet per second. And we've done one or two other tests with these with some mixed results from them so far. So I don't know, maybe today's setup can help them out a little bit. It's been known to perform well in the past, so we might get lucky today with these. I don't know. And as for that setup, I've brought out the Remington 1187 with the stock modified choke in the gun. So definitely nothing fancy, but this stock modified choke has done me well with waterfowl loads before. So maybe it can do pretty decent with these today. It's definitely worth a try to see what we can get, that's for sure. But as for the test, everything is the same as we usually do it. I have the duck target set up at 40 yards. I also have the chronograph, so we'll be able to get our speed. So let's get you guys set up with a view of this target, and I'll head up and take the shot. We'll look at what kind of chrono speed we had, and then we'll go down range and see how they actually performed. I have some mixed hopes on this one, but let's head over here and shoot them and see what we can actually get out of this combination. Okay, so that round gave us 1365 across our chronograph. The box is claiming 1400, so I believe that's about accurate for what it was actually moving. Now, me personally, I prefer to see my waterfowl shells at least at the 1400 mark, so it's moving a little bit on the slow side, but it's not as bad as some of the other loads that we've tested as far as the speed goes. Out to 40 yards on a duck or something like that, absolutely good enough to do what you want it to do, and I think that's a pretty realistic speed considering the box claim was 1400, even if it is a little bit slower than what I'd personally like. But either way, nothing too strange up here, but how well did it actually perform down at 40 yards? Let's go take a look and see. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and this is what we got. Now, we do have a dead duck here. There are 3 right across his chest and neck area there, with 1 right in the top of his head, and a couple more spread out throughout the wings. So, absolutely would have been a dead duck. Now, backing up and looking at the rest of our pattern here, it's kind of in the middle somewhere, I guess. It's not amazing. It's not terrible, I wouldn't say. It's definitely not the worst one we've gotten so far, but it's far from the best as well. Now, I will say that upper left quadrant area up there is probably the best area on this target. And if that was how the entire rest of the pattern looked, it'd probably be pretty decent looking. But considering what the rest of the pattern looks like, I mean, down there at the bottom, it's just big gaps and voids and stuff. All the way over to the right side, there's almost nothing. So were we a slight bit off in where our point of impact was? I mean, there's a potential, I suppose. But if that was the case, we clearly can see that the outer edges of the pattern blow pretty good and wide open, at least at 40 yards. Now, I'd be plenty happy if we had that top left quadrant up there as most of our pattern, but we just don't. So on this one, absolutely good enough to do the job, but not quite as good as what I would like to see, or at least not quite as even as what I'd like to see. So I don't know on this one. Kind of middle of the road. It's not great. It's not terrible. It would do the job if it's what you had, but I think we can do better out of this particular shell as well. Now, whether or not that's a little bit more choke or a little bit less choke, I don't know. Let me know y'all's opinion about it, and should we choke it up or choke it down a little bit and see how it performs then. But either way, I'd call it good enough, but definitely nothing super fancy or super special out of this one. Okay, and here's the wad out of that shell, and this is definitely pretty interesting. I've never seen a waterfowl wad open up completely flat like this. This looks kind of like a sabot out of a shotgun slug, because it is pretty much completely flat open. But we don't really see anything that I'd be too concerned with as far as rips, tears, anything like that. The petals look to be in decent shape. You can definitely see the dimples from the shot, and the outside of it here looks pretty good as well. Nothing that I'd be too concerned with, but definitely something really interesting to see it, how wide open it came like that. So I don't know, maybe that played a role into how it patterned, maybe it didn't, but definitely pretty interesting to see either way. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that performance there? I think it's kind of middle of the road. Nothing fancy, nothing absolutely terrible either. It would do the job out to 40 yards, but I think we need a little bit different choke constriction to really get a little bit more even pattern out of it. But as always, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you hoping for better or expecting a little bit worse? And if you've tested any of these Winchester Xpert Waterfowl shells, what has been your experience and how well did they perform for you? Let me know all that down in the comments. But with that being said, I've got another test to film out here today for y'all, so I'm going to get back to it. Stay tuned. We've got plenty more stuff coming with some new loads and chokes still. And as always, we do have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send things if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested, but I'm going to get back to it. So I'll see y'all in the next one.